What's up, everybody? I'm back for a second episode of working on my 87 Ford Thunderbird. Just a continuation of the last video. If you haven't watched the last video, go back and check it out. It's a very short video just talking about what I've done and where I'm going with it. The main project right now, I'm deleting the air conditioning. Main reason I'm deleting the air conditioning is not because it's going to be a race car or anything. Mainly just because it doesn't work, it's old and crusty, and I don't like it sitting there. It takes up space, looks ugly. So I'm going to take it all off and clean things up a little bit under the engine compartment. Other than that, that's the only reason I'm doing it. Maybe someday down the road I'll put air conditioning back on it. Not that worried about it right now. So clean it up, get rid of some accessories, maybe free up a little bit of that 150 horsepower this poor thing's got, and then see what happens. With that being said, I sent out a bunch of parts to a friend of mine that does powder coating. Got those parts back, basically the pulleys, the brackets, mounts, things like that. So I'll go over those real quick with you, show you what I've got, and then I'll do one more thing before we go, and then we'll go back and work on the car. So here's everything I took off the front of the engine, including the radiator mounts. Figured when I had them off, I'd have them sent along with it. As you can see, the stuff turned out really nice. The guy did a really good job on this stuff. Brushed aluminum powder coat with a clear coat on it. Should last a long time. Not looking to dress this thing up too crazy, but I figure if I'm putting parts back on the engine, back on the car, I want to make them look halfway decent. I don't want to throw crusty, scabby old parts back on it. So decided to have that all done. Didn't cost a ton of money to get it done. It was way easier than painting everything, especially the alternator bracket. That thing was really nasty. So he sandblasted that, cleaned it up really nice, spent some time with a file, smoothing it out. Actually did a really good job with it, so I really appreciate all the work you put into it. The two brackets right up front there are the relocation brackets to move that pump bracket up to where the old air conditioning used to be. That'll eliminate the air conditioning pulley. Plus, I'm also eliminating the idler pulley that was already in place for the smog pump that had already been removed before I bought the car. So now I'm going to be down 2 pulleys, which is kind of nice. So I got one more thing I want to show you real quick. Not a big deal, but at this point, I'm here. I got a scale here. I'm going to go ahead and weigh the parts that I took off the engine, all the AC parts, just for the heck of it, just to kind of see how much that stuff weighs and see how much weight I'm losing on the car. Like I said, it's not going to be a race car, but I'm here. Might as well see it. I'm just curious how much I'm going to take off this thing. All right, so we're back over by the scale. I'm going to throw these parts on there. We'll see how much everything weighs, just to see how much I'm taking off the engine. So first we're going to throw the condenser on here. I'm going to call that 5.5 pounds. Idler pulley from the smog pump that I took off. That weighs 1.5 pounds. The old power steering pump and AC bracket. This is the big ugly monster that I took off to replace it with a small Mustang version. And that guy weighs about 4 pounds. Next, I just got some miscellaneous pieces I'm going to throw on here. Two and a half pounds. Got a couple other small pieces. I'm just going to add that up to 3. And then the final part is the compressor itself. Let's throw that up there. Compressor is 18 pounds. Okay, so I also weighed the new power steering bracket and the little relocation kit. That comes out to about 4 pounds, which is basically what the old bracket was. So I'm going to delete that off there. Not worry about adding that up because it's going to wash itself out. All right, let's add everything up and see what we got. Looks like we're about 28 pounds. So basically at this point, 28 pounds of crap is coming off this thing. Is that going to make a huge difference? Probably not. All right, so I guess that's going to be it right now. I'll get everything packed back up. Got to head back home, get some of these parts put back on. So on top of changing out the power steering bracket, I decided to put a brand new pump on at the same time. I can't tell if the old pump is original or if it's been replaced at all, but it was starting to whine after I blew a return line on it a while back. So but while I'm in there, I'm just going to swap out the pump, put a brand new one in there, and just be done with it. And here's the magic that's going to make this thing live in its new spot. Basically, I'm eliminating the AC, so this is going to move up to that same spot. That'll eliminate another pulley, let me run a shorter belt, basically. This is the bracket kit that's going to do that. This is an LMR kit I got, along with that bracket, came from LMR as well. This allows that to move up to that location and then clean up the engine compartment a little bit and make things a little bit nicer. All right, let's get this crankshaft pulley in. Pulley is on. All right, next we're going to tackle the alternator bracket. Tensioner assembly on. All right, so we've got a little bit of a problem here. Let me show you. All right, so I mocked up the new radiator. The overflow nipple hits the battery. So it's threaded into the neck. I think I can put a 90-degree fitting in there and turn that the other way. So let's give that a try. Well, I'm waiting to get a fitting for this overflow. I went ahead and fit the transmission cooler lines on the radiator. For now, I'm just going to run the built-in cooler. I'll add an external cooler on maybe next year. I just want to get this thing put together and get it running. So here's the new cooler lines. All right, not the prettiest, but they fit in there nice. I'm just going to connect them to the old lines right there with some hose. Call it good for now. Like I said, next year I'll add an external cooler on that thing. But I just want to get this thing put together so I can get it fired up and make sure everything works. All right, so I got the radiator back out. Unfortunately, that hose bar is not going to work hitting the battery. I can't even get the hose in there. There's just no room. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and put that 90-degree fitting in there. But before I can do that, I found out when I took the fitting out of that, unfortunately, it's a 1/16 inch pipe fitting and not an 1/8 inch pipe fitting. Nobody around here really carries 1/16 fittings, so I'm going to have to drill and tap it out. I'll put an 1/8 inch elbow in there and put a new barb on that, and then I think that'll take care of my problem. All right, transmission cooler lines are hooked up, ready to go. All right, the belt is on. It's a little snug, so we'll see how that one works. Everything else is hooked up. Let's fire it up and see what happens. I don't want to run it very long. I don't have a whole lot of coolant in here, but I just want to make sure nothing's leaking. So good. All right, she's done. She runs. That's all I was looking for. So I'm gonna call that good for now. I'm gonna end this video today. My goal is just getting it started up and get everything on and done. So obviously the project itself isn't completely done, but that was just as part of that project. Wanted to get the air conditioning off. Obviously that turned into a new radiator. So, but that part's done. I don't have to worry about that for now. Unfortunately, I can't do much more to it until spring. We're in the middle of winter right now. It's kind of cold out. I don't have a shop, as you can see. So I'm going to be working on my house here pretty quick. I got a bunch of work to do on that this winter. And then come spring, hopefully I can get back on the car. So at this point, if you like what you saw, appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe. Unfortunately, I won't have much for videos for you until spring probably, but hopefully by then I can get a bunch more projects going on this thing. I got a few things I want to do to it. So hopefully I can get some video shot of all that. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.